All right, part two. So we left off in the first part with you training at Pinong for I don't know how long,
It was about 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
It was about a month, I think.
Okay. What was
Yeah.
like your main takeaway, or like some things you took away from training in Thailand?
Um, some of the things that I took away. I mean, I was only there for a month,
Mm.
so I know I was trying to think what can I take from a month. You know what I mean? A month isn't a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I just watched their feet the whole time. The whole time I was there, I watched
Mm.
and I watched their balance and I watched how they move. You know,
Mm.
I wasn't necessarily watching the strikes or anything like that. I was just watching their feet and trying to catch all of their rhythm and try to figure out what makes them different than everyone else in the world. Like
Mm.
what do they do? Because whatever the thing about one thing I learned from Sisson was that it was everything was simple. You know what I mean? Everything was
Mm-hmm.
basic. It was reps. Um, and through those reps, I just came back hella sharp. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And stuff. My balance was on point, and I was trying to hold on to that as long as I can. And whenever I think of Thailand, I visualize their feet.
It's interesting that you mentioned that because we obviously mentioned Barry Robinson before. Did you go to
Mhm.
Thailand before or after you worked with him?
Uh, Before I believe,
Okay. So
yeah,
how did you come up with the idea to watch like the feet and balance? Because that's something he's big on as well.
yeah. Because we only have 2 feet. We can't do nothing with our feet. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
without our feet. You know what I mean? We only have 2 feet, and whenever you watch anyone move, everyone has a different rhythm. Everyone has a different cadence. And when I say cadence, I mean where everyone moves from left to right or from right to
Mm-hmm.
left. You know, when they're rocking, left,
Yeah.
right, left, right. If it's slow, you know, left, right, left, right. If some are fast, even if they're hopping back and forth, it's still left, right, left, right. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, and every whether it's slow, fast, or whatever, it has a cadence.
Mm-hmm.
Left, right, bump, 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 bump. Cadence. When I'm watching, I'm playing their steps like a drum in my head. Boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and through that, everyone has a pattern that they just naturally do that they don't realize that they do. Even myself, I'm sure. It, and just by taking the cadence of someone's feet, we'll just naturally pick up a pattern without even trying. And then once we pick up that pattern, we can break that pattern. We can break that cadence and try to manipulate that cadence with our cadence. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Um, and this just all comes from the feet.
Mm.
That's why I watch the feet.
It's pretty interesting. Damn.
Yeah,
Nice. I mean, I always knew that footwork was like important, but I never looked at it, that way.
yeah, yeah. You can start to tell. It's almost as if you can see what they're gonna throw based off their cadence, or see how they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna react based off their cadence.
Mm.
But it also takes a lot of practice
Oh
to be
yeah,
able to do
probably.
so. You know what I mean? Because you can't just be looking at the feet and then not watching the hands. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Uh, or even be ready to uh, catch a kick or something like that. You know what I mean? You got to be able
Mm.
to as you watch the as you're watching the elbows. You know what I mean? What are they
Mm-hmm.
looking at? Just stuff
Mm.
like that.
But I remember one time I asked you where you look when you fight or spar, and you said like there's not a fixed point. Like
Yeah,
you, I think you compare it to driving a car.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because yeah, when you're driving, if you were to teach me how to drive, and I'm asking you these questions,
Mhm.
um, hey, where do you look?
Mhm.
Um, and you know, you respond, you watch the car in front of you, you got to watch your mirrors, you know, stuff like that. It's like, okay, um, what happens if someone jumps out in the middle of the street? What happens if this car suddenly stops? What happens if am I supposed to watch, um how long am I supposed to look at the mirrors? You know what I mean? Like how do I know when to look in my blind spot? Am I supposed to just
Mm.
be sitting in the car just like checking everything? You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
no, you're just like scanning and taking mental pictures. You know what I mean? If you're
Mhm.
looking at it, if you're looking in your rear view mirrors, it's a picture. This is going, this is how far they are, whatnot. This is how fast we're going. There's nothing happening in front of me. There's nothing, you know. But it's all happening, and you're just chilling. You're just kind of like scanning around. You know what I mean?
Is this something you picked up in Thailand as well, or is it something you like figured out before?
This is just something that I thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that I say out loud, I'm already saying it to myself internally when I'm trying to shadow box or when I'm trying to, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's running down a checklist every time when I'm shadow boxing
Mm.
on the bag, when I'm on the pads or whatnot. While doing this, then I'll be able to see things coming. I'll, I'm more likely to see things coming. You know, I don't see
Yeah.
everything, but I'm more likely to see things coming before they're even grown.
Mm. Now, obviously, when you started coaching and teaching seminars, you kind of had to break down your style so that you were able to teach it to other people.
Hmm.
Was this something you did before as well?
What do you mean?
Like if you break down your style from a coaching perspective, it's like you have to sit down and think like, why do I do this? Because you know what works for you, but maybe sometimes you don't look at the collective,
Hmm.
because when you fight, it's all flow.
Yeah. Well,
But when you
say it's not just flow. You know what I mean? Sometimes it does get ugly. Sometimes I get off balance. It's
mm,
um, I can't have in fighting. I can't have flow without crash. You know, I'm
mm,
just crash as I am flow.
mm-hmm,
Um, Otherwise, I'm not hurting the guy. You know what I
mm-hmm,
mean? Find moments when to flow and when to crash into him, or have him crash into me.
mm,
Uh, and It's just through rhythm. My style is just rhythm. My
mm-hmm,
style, my style. If whenever I'm teaching someone something, it's gonna be the same as mine. But I tell them, I always give a disclaimer. This is just what works for me. Take what you
mm-hmm,
can and stuff that doesn't work for you. You know what I mean? And
mm-hmm,
through this, I will love
mm. That makes sense.
it.
But
Yeah.
like, how do I put this? There's like to every striker, there's kind of like a philosophy. So, for example, Jockey Gym, they were all the Muay fighters, but like their philosophy is all the same. They just implemented it differently. Like Lurzilla, Sanchai, Silapatai, they all had the same coach. Like the philosophy was the same, but like obviously the execution was different. So would you
Yeah.
say like one of the main things in your philosophy would be rhythm?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's all about rhythm. It's all about relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about composure.
Mm.
My uh my process every single time is find your rhythm and try to break your rhythm. And
Mm-hmm.
through that process, I'll find my rhythm.
Mm. Okay. So I just is this something you picked up before Thailand or during Thailand? Because I know here they're big on it, but maybe it's something people easily miss out on because of the language barrier?
Um, no, what I like to do is I like to listen to music a lot,
Uh-huh.
coming up. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Mainly R&B type deal.
Okay.
Um, and I'll start slow. You know what I mean? A lot of times I don't. Uh, I'm just trying to get going, so
Hmm.
I'm not even throwing punches. I'm not throwing kicks. I'm not throwing nothing. I'm just listening to music and I just two step left, right, left, right, and then it'll just that two step will turn into my fight stance, and
Hmm.
then my fight stance, and I'll start adding the strikes. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Listening to, trying to go with the beat as I'm, you know, shadow boxing and whatnot. Um,
Hmm.
and then next thing I know, I'm throwing everything. You know what I mean? Offense,
Hmm.
defense, everything's on balance because I'm just dancing and I'm on rhythm. You know, I'm making sure that I don't go outside of my limits as far as balance goes, and I'll be able to do everything. Uh,
Hmm.
but it just came, it's just something I developed from as I'm shadow boxing out. You know what I mean?
Okay. So this kind of explains how you get to like an hour shadow boxing easily.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
Is
work. I'm
this?
just, going.
Yeah, it's like it's not on purpose, but once you explain the process, it kind of makes sense. So is the shadow boxing however long you do it, because it probably depends on the day. Is it something you do throughout your whole camp?
It's something I do. Um, it's probably second to brushing my teeth.
Okay.
I do it every day. You know,
Yeah, yeah, for
uh,
sure.
it's a staple. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like at the very least, shadow boxing. Don't even gotta be hard, intense shadow boxing either. I'm moving, and I'm
Mm.
visualizing.
Yeah.
Every day, every day.
This brings me to recently you started like posting. I forgot how you called it. Like you post sweeps for 14 days. I forgot
Oh
how you
yeah,
call it. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
they're amazing.
Thanks, man.
Now, how do you how did you get so good at sweeping? Because like sweeping from a clinch, that makes sense because that's something you can practice or like drill. But like the other sweeps, some sweeps are harder to like drill with somebody. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
For example, the banana peel sweep. Like you
Is that?
can't. Yeah, the banana peel sweep is when you it's when somebody wants to block a low kick and you hook his leg. This is the banana
Yeah.
peel sweep.
Oh.
you know. I mean, for example, that one is not one that you can go to somebody and be like, "Hey, can we drill this?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did you get good at those type of sweeps?
Um, I feel like I got good at it. Well, first I got good at it. I got okay at it. Not good at it.
Mm.
I got okay
Mm.
at it by it being done to me. Kevin Ross used to
Mm.
do that all the time.
Right.
Um, yeah. Um, and just getting swept a lot as well.
Mm.
Not just by him, but by other people. To this
Yeah.
day, I get swept every now and then. It's not on camera, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
uh, but you have to know both ends to truly understand something.
Mm.
So I I started to get good at it when I had a soccer ball, right? Um, it was like hooked to a string, and it was the soccer ball was in a small net. You know what
Uh-huh.
I mean? And I would just be kicking it as I'm holding it, kicking it with my
Mm-hmm.
feet, and then just getting that timing. Instead of kicking it, I would just sweep it to the side. You know what I mean? Just I
Okay.
would do for hours as well while I'm kicking it or talking, whatever, with someone. I'm
Mm-hmm.
kicking the soccer ball, on the string. And I feel like that's what really developed my timing for sweeps.
Okay. So that's like the ball on the net that you're holding, right?
Hmm.
Okay. That's pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
because check it out. As you're kicking it, right,
Mm-hmm.
and as it's coming back, that's when I'm sweeping it. You know what I mean? So I'm
Oh,
kicking it, and then I'm sweeping it. It's just that's the same timing as if someone steps forward.
steps in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, man, this is a hidden gem. Because in the end, this is this is how I heard first of you. You were on a, I think you were on a fight tips video, and one of the things that Shane Faison, that's his name, right? Fight tips. One of the things he was mentioning was like that he was always. I remember he was speaking at your Instagram to see what kind of crazy training methods you had, and I was
Yeah.
like, what kind of crazy stuff would he be able to do? And I looked at your training and I was like, this is pretty innovative. This is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah,
Is
man.
this is this is kind of stuff you come up. This is like stuff you come up with on the fly, or
Yeah, man. It's I'm not like in the gym. Okay, what crazy thing can I do next? You know what I
yeah.
mean? Just what I'm really doing is I'm like a kid. You know what I mean?
Mm,
You put a toddler who's just learning how to walk um, in a room full of just objects or toys. You know what I mean? With a toddler, they don't even be toys. They can just be objects. And you're just playing with it. You know what I mean? Getting to
mm,
know it. You know. Taller that's just learned how to walk, they're they're like getting to know their body. You know what I mean?
mm,
They can't brush their teeth correctly. You know what I mean? They're constantly spilling stuff.
mm,
It's just because they don't fully understand their body yet. You know what I mean?
mm,
But they're just figuring it out every day. That's me in the gym. You know, I'm not just trying to do crazy stuff. I'm just trying to
mm.
figure out my body. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like if there's stuff around, like all right. I don't try to think of things that relate to fighting. My mind's just always on fighting. So whenever I look at something, I think fighting. Um,
Mm,
it's just like when you have that girl that's always on your mind. You see her everywhere. Everything reminds you of her. You know what I
mm,
mean? That's how I see fighting. That's how I see Muay Thai. Uh, you give me a ball, I'll figure out some way to. I'll just start playing with it, and then I'm not trying to think how does this relate to fighting. It just comes to me, just by playing.
mm. Interesting method because you you're actually learning by playing around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to other
This
people, it's
is
just like,
kind.
oh man, how'd you come up with that? It's like, I don't know. I'm just playing,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. Yeah, but it's because nobody sees like the process of you going into how you get to the eventual end result. We just see the end result, and it's like probably a 10-second clip on Instagram, and we go like, oh, this is new, this is innovative. Well, maybe this is something that you were brain like or working on for like I don't know maybe months.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. It's consistency. You know, it's become a trend to on like social media. These crazy drills you can do. You know what I mean with this or that. No matter
Mm,
how everyone's trying to come up with the fad drill or something. You know what I mean? Um,
mm,
those things are impressive, but unless you're doing it every day, you know, like if you're doing it for the gram versus doing it every day, daily, again, like it has the drills that we do have to be routine. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like, uh, so it don't you don't need a special drill. You just need repetition. You know?
mm. Talking about the repetition. this will go back to like the basics now. Obviously, basics are the most important, but when you look at like the Instagram world these days, like obviously people like to watch the fancy stuff more than the
Yeah.
basics. Although the basics are obviously more effective. Do you think that like the fancy stuff takes away people's attention even more from the basics than it already was before all the Instagram hype?
Um, do I think people want to know the fancy stuff more than the basics? Basically, is that?
Even more than before?
Yeah,
Mm,
I believe so.
okay.
Because I mean, really, IG is just a highlight reel. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Or just social media, not just IG,
Mm,
but social media is a highlight.
mm,
You know? It's all people's best moments, but what led to them? You know, a lot of
mm.
times it's the basics that make the fancy stuff work. You
Yeah.
know, um, and it's the way we put these basics together that make fancy. It's not necessarily a certain fake or feint. You know what I mean? It's simply just drawing your opponent to think you're going to do one thing and you're not. You're doing
Mm,
another. Uh, but yeah, I feel like a lot of people want to know the fancy because that's all we see. That's all we're fed. But
yeah.
hey, that could be a good thing though, because
Mm,
sometimes the fancy will attract someone to a passion. It's like, oh yeah, I want to know that how to do that spinning elbow or that spinning kick or that double spin head kick, whatever. You know what I mean? Um, oh, that's Muay Thai. Oh, let me check it out. You know what I mean? That could spark
that's true
something.
too. Yeah.
That's the positive. You know. Then they'll fall in love with the basics and they'll learn how to do what they wanted to do. You know.
Mm. Talking about fancy and the basics, in 4 weeks you have the title fight coming up. How do
Yeah.
you how do you feel about your opponent? Because I know you don't study a lot of tape, but you obviously
Yeah.
know him, so you kind of probably know what to expect.
Yeah. To a degree, you know,
Mm.
we never know what's gonna happen until we get in there.
Yeah.
How the chips will fall. You know what I mean? Um, but I respect him.
Mm.
I'm not worried about it though. I'm not worried about the fight. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not saying that it's gonna be an easy fight. I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take it out of context when I say I'm not worried about it. I'm just excited to fight against someone
Mm.
who's exciting to watch fight and who's excited to fight just as much. You know what I mean? No one wants to go in there thinking, "Oh man, I got this." And well, I don't want to say no one, but I'll just speak for myself. I never want to go in there thinking, "Oh man, I'm just gonna run through this guy." You know,
Mm.
what's if I feel like I'm just gonna run through someone? Uh, what's the point? You know,
Yeah.
uh, we want to be tested. We want to fight people who will be tough. Um, and when I say we, I can speak for me and my team.
Mm-hmm.
Because about this all day, every day. Uh, we want to fight people that'll bring out the best in us, and we can only get the best out of us if we're pushed uh, to a certain limit. You know?
Mm. I like how you like phrase it. Like you said, you want to test yourself. Is
Yeah.
this why you always like just keep climbing the ladder when it comes to fighting instead of like taking like a warm up fight after a longer layoff? Because now after almost a year, it's like title shot or like title fight. So
Yeah.
I mean that's a step up.
Yeah. Um, a fight's a fight. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Uh, I warm up every day in the gym
Mm.
for the fight. When I'm in front of the bag, I'm uh before the before I'm even given an opponent, I'm
Mm-hmm.
training for the fight. You know, my he's my teammate and he's also my coach as well, Darren.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he always tells us if not uh you're training for your last fight if you're not fighting for your next fight. You know, something along those
Mm,
like that.
yeah.
Um, and we're always training to win. You know what I mean? So uh, for me, I'm just ready to do what I do in front of y'all. You know what I mean?
Mm,
It's like you guys get to see what I get to do all day. You
mm,
know, uh, I'm never tripping. It's not like, uh, of course I want to win, of course,
mm,
but I ain't. I go out there and I try to win the heart of the crowd more than anything. You know,
mm-hmm,
the heart of the crowd. It don't matter whose hand gets raised. There's some fights out there that of my favorite fighter, um, and they lost that fight, but it was
mm,
probably one of my favorite fights because of the way they performed. You know what I
mm,
mean? The way they won the crowd over, stuff like that. When we think of our favorite fighters, how many of us know our favorite fighter's record? You know what I mean? And even if there is losses on the record, it don't
mm,
matter. You know what I mean? That's still my favorite fighter. You know
mm,
what he does and how he does it. So for me, like when I go in there with that mentality, it's not a matter of oh man, I, I I think I'm gonna need some more time for this, or no no
mm,
no, give me a different opponent. You know what I mean? Type deal. It's like man, I'm ready for anyone. We should all, as fighters, we should all feel like can't nobody beat me. You know what I
mm,
mean? Throw whoever in front of me, and you know what I mean. I'll get the job done. We should all feel that. So
mm,
by feeling that way, it don't matter who you throw in front of me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And this allows me to have this confidence when I step in the ring. You know?
Now you talked about like winning the crowd over and showcasing your skill for your fans, followers.
Yeah.
Will we see you transition to MMA in the future? Because that was something that was gonna happen, but eventually fell through.
Mhm.
Okay,
Um.
so
Yeah. Definitely.
okay,
Def-
yeah.
yeah. I've been falling in love with the ground.
Oh,
Um.
so much fun.
Yeah. So much fun, man. You
Yeah.
know. Well, one thing that's made it fun is Darren, how he makes everything. He's so good at making showing me the parallels from from striking and
Mm-hmm.
grappling,
Mm.
from striking to grappling, grappling to striking. So he just helps me understand it so well, and that's why I feel like I've also been able to pick it up quickly.
Mm.
You know what I mean, and have
Yeah.
fun. So I'm excited for it.
Okay. So one more before we go. The last years you were kind of not that active when it came to fighting. Now, obviously, you changed camps. Will we see a difference in activity now?
Um, Activity as in fighting more.
Yes.
Oh hell yeah,
Oh
hell
man,
yeah,
it's gonna be exciting.
yeah, man.
Mm.
I ain't turning down nothing. I ain't turning down ready, bro. I've been ready. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
I'm ready to fight whenever the call comes. You
Uh
know,
huh.
because you never know when the call's gonna come.
Mm.
For the longest time, man, I've accepted I've accepted a fact that I'm not gonna get to fight much. So when I do fight, I gotta make sure I make it count. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but now that I have my destiny in my own hands,
Uh huh.
you know, I'm taking every opportunity that comes to me. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
definitely, you guys are gonna see me out there a lot more, doing a lot
Mm.
more things.
Yeah, because that was one of the things that I was always like, I wish I could see him fight more because obviously I like to study your style, but it's like there's not a lot of fights that are available.
Yeah. Nah, man. Give it 2 years, man. I believe I'm gonna have a lot more fights under my belt. I feel
Man.
like I feel like I'm in my prime right now, and ain't no better time than the present. So, you
Oh, for
know,
sure.
like line them up, and I'll knock them down. You know what I mean?
Like an attitude. Uh, when you talked about like you now having your fates in your own hand, in your previous camp, it was more up to the coach when you fought, or?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Um, I wasn't active in in my in finding my fights.
Oh,
Now, uh, it's just in my own hands now. Uh, well, mine and my team. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because any decision that any of us make, we all bring it to the table. We discuss it. We talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone gives their point of view, and even though that point of view, say, um, I was ready for a fight, and I'm just using myself for an example. Say if I was ready for a fight, I felt ready, and some people, I brought it to the table, and some were like, I don't think that's a good one. But I was like, man, I want it. Then it's like, all right, let's do it,
Oh,
type deal. You know what I mean? Don't
yeah.
matter what anyone. It does matter, but the final say so comes from the person that's going in the
Mm.
ring. It's actually sacrificing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that attitude because when like well, UFC is just on, like I guess now, but like one of the things that I feel is very different between the Thais and the UFC fighters that they kind of like pick their opponents, and it's like at at one point, and I don't want to sound disrespectful, but they kind of sound like spoiled babies because they're like, oh, I'm gonna fight everybody, but
Hmm.
I have to, you have to pay me this much. It can't be on 2 weeks notice, but it can be on 2 weeks and 1 day notice. I'm like, well, do you want to fight or like what do you want?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
everyone's different. You know what I mean? And uh, I can't speak for everyone else. I can only
Mm.
speak for me and my team. We don't got it all figured out. No one does.
True.
We're making the adjustments every day.
Mm.
Um, and we're just trying our best to
Mm.
be fair. You know what I mean? Um, because there's nothing more there's nothing more heavy than feeling like you're not in control of your destiny. You know what I mean?
Mm. I understand.
That's just how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a that's a good one to like end the podcast. Where can where can people follow you?
um, on IG, and on Facebook. Hold on, let me look up my IG name right now because I don't even know the like. Oh yeah, that's Eddie underscore Abasolo. That's my IG.
Okay.
Yeah, just look me up on there. Um, I'm working on getting a YouTube page up. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
okay.
So yeah, got a lot of things we're working on, man. A lot of things, a lot of us are working on. Not just me, but there's a lot of people with a lot of things coming up. I mean, and
Mm.
uh, at the resistance,
Okay.
So stay tuned.
2021, the year of Silky Smooth.
Yeah, man, the year of the resistance. You know what I
Year of
mean?
the Resistance. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
it's all
right.
about the team, man. It's all about the team.
Amazing. All right. Thanks for being on, man.
Thanks for having me, brother.